Hello, you may have seen the new BMW M5 before, but today, something different. We are going to put it up against the clock and against its rivals. They are the Mercedes-AMG E63S and the Porsche Panamera Turbo S E-Hybrid, as we find out which is the quickest of the German Uber saloons. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. So I've got about 600 horsepower. Daniele in the E63 has about 600. Simon in the Panamera has more like 680, and it's a Porsche. But we'll see. We're going to do a half-mile sprint, which you'd have on the road. I don't know, personal preference. I like the engine in the E63. I like the all-round capability of this. Quite like the speed of the Porsche. I'm spending quite a lot of time in an M5 at the minute, and I'm enjoying those times quite a lot. So they're all neck and neck. They're all really close to each other on size, on spec. They're all very competitive. We will see what turbocharged 4-litre V8 engines can do. The Panamera's launch control is the easiest to engage. You put the car in Sport Plus, drive, stick your left foot on the brake, and floor the throttle. The Mercedes E63 is rather more complicated. You have to dial up Sport, Sport Plus, or Race. Race is best. Put the ESP in Sport, then put your foot on the brake, then tug both paddles, acknowledge that by pulling an upshift, then floor the throttle. And the BMW M5 is somewhere between the two. Dial everything to Sport Plus, put the gearbox in manual mode, turn DSC off, then floor the brake, then hit the throttle. Now, the interesting thing about the M5 is that it has a conventional torque converter automatic gearbox. So that means I put my foot down, I go for the launch control, and it already starts to tighten up the torque converter. Although it says launch control is engaged and it raises the revs, you can feel it pulling against and wanting to get away. The car next to me, the Panamera, has a DCT dual clutch transmission. So that means that when it goes to launch control, it can just go brrr, and the clutch stays disengaged until it takes its foot off the brake. And away it goes. The Mercedes-AMG is slightly different again. It's got a 9-speed auto, but instead of a torque converter, it has a multi-plate dry clutch. So that means also that Dan in that can just go like that, and then it can go like that, and away it goes. I can't do that, so I have to come on the throttle later and hope I'm catching the M5 at its right spot. Because after a while it goes, oh, I can't do this anymore, I'm just stressing out the torque converter. When the countdown comes, I'm going to have to get it right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, crikey, they are both away. I'm a bit surprised the AMG is away that much quicker. The Porsche, I'm not quite so surprised, is walking away from the both of us. I'm keeping good pace with the E63 now. In fact, I'm starting to draw it back in, am I? No, I'm not. It's close. It's very, very close. The Panamera's launch control then, plus its part electric drivetrain, means that it can get from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 3.12 seconds. That's faster than McLaren F1, by the way. It gets to 100 miles an hour in 7.4 seconds, will pass through a standing quarter in 11.3 seconds at 124.9 miles an hour, and a half mile in 17.63 seconds at 151.8 miles an hour. The E63S takes a little longer to get off the line, 3.36 seconds to 60 miles an hour, but it's a gap it has mostly made back by 100 miles an hour, which it passes through also in 7.4 seconds. E63 passes a standing quarter mile in 11.46 at 126.6 miles an hour, and it goes through a half mile in 17.83 seconds at 153.7. That's a few tenths behind the Panamera, but it is travelling quicker by that point. And finally, the M5. It gets from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.48 seconds. Maybe that's down to the less efficient launch control system. It passes 100 miles an hour in 7.55, and from that point on, it never makes back the ground that it has lost early on. It goes through a standing quarter in 11.58 seconds at 125.8 miles an hour, and the standing half mile in 18.1 seconds at 152 miles an hour exactly. It's a disappointing third place for the M5. It's plenty fast enough, I promise you. Yes, on an airfield, you may be slightly embarrassed by a Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid, but the gap over half a mile is, frankly, only the time it takes to say Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. So if you've enjoyed this nonsense, please don't forget to like, subscribe, join us again. Remember, we are here on the YouTube at least once a week. We're here every day, every minute, every second on autocar.co.uk. And I'm on Twitter far too much. And my cat's on Instagram. Follow Daily Midge.